Georgia medical cannabis production licenses, aka cultivation licenses for medical marijuana. Is the market going to be very, very open like Oklahoma, or is it going to be very, very tightly controlled like the very limited market in Arkansas? All this is the perfect fodder for a new episode of Cannabis Legalization News. Hello, I'm Tom, a lawyer with the Collateral Base and host of Cannabis Legalization News. Like and subscribe to learn all about this policy and the evolving laws in this new industry. Georgia is accepting applications for medical cannabis production licenses. But act quickly because the window is very short. It opened in late November and it closes on December the 28th. The state has allowed the use of medical cannabis since 2015 when the General Assembly finally passed a bill permitting medical cannabis production and sale in Georgia. And now applications are open for another round of cultivation licenses. The Georgia program does not use the term marijuana. It actually uses cannabis, which is pretty great. The Georgia Access to Medical Cannabis Commission unanimously approved the process that will allow nearly 14,000 registered patients in Georgia to obtain oil for treatment in the state. If you are interested in joining the cannabis industry in the Peach State, get your checkbook out and put on a pot of coffee because those applications are quite large and they're due on December 28th. With such a short time frame, you should move quickly to submit your application. Production licenses are hoped to be issued by March of 2021. Let's talk about the types of different licenses the Georgia cannabis laws allow. The Georgia Medical Marijuana Class 1 Producer License. The Class 1 Production License authorizes that license holder to grow cannabis in an indoor facility for use in producing low THC oil, limited to 100,000 square feet of cultivation space. And they can also manufacture that low THC oil. The Commission will issue only 2 Class 1 production licenses, and then there is the Georgia Medical Cannabis Class 2 Producer License. That type of license allows its holder to grow cannabis in an indoor facility, also for producing low THC oil in a 50,000 square foot of cultivation space. They can also manufacture the low THC oil. And the Commission will issue 4 of such Class 2 production licenses. That's it. What is the number of cannabis production licenses allowed in Georgia under this round? 6. The state will only be issuing 6 licenses for the cultivation of medical cannabis in the state of Georgia. And those types of cannabis strains can have no more than 5% THC. The Commission will award licenses to 2 Class 1 100,000 square foot licenses and 4 Class 2 50,000 square foot licenses. See, this is a super limited market. Only 6 licenses and only 14,000 patients and only low THC oil. They are trying to grow strains that have lower than 5% THC. In theory, they could have custom, proprietary medical marijuana strains that have the appropriate ratios of CBD to THC to be compliant there. It doesn't look like the market opportunity is really there. Maybe in the future, after recreation happens, you'll get grandfathered in, but it could be quite expensive to get there. How expensive? Well, let's talk about it. You're going to go spend all this money. What is the cost of obtaining these medical cannabis licenses to cultivate in the state of Georgia? A Class 1 production license requires a non-refundable application fee of $25,000 and an initial license fee of $200,000 and a license renewal fee of $100,000. Plus, you need a $1.5 million bond. A Class 2 production license requires a non-refundable application fee of $5,000, an initial license fee of $100,000, and a license renewal fee of $50,000. Plus, you need a $625,000 bond. Just money sitting in an account somewhere, like we all have. Now, the Georgia law allows the growers and processors to not only grow low THC cannabis and process it into THC oil, it does not allow them to create or manufacture products like tinctures, topicals, rapid onset sublinguals, and inhalables. Those products are still prohibited under Georgia's medical cannabis law. The application process for both types of medical cannabis production licenses in Georgia are open to the general public. But considering the high cost to access those licenses, they're really only open to the wealthy. Let's discuss Georgia's cannabis cultivation application requirements. Those applying for a medical cannabis production license in Georgia must submit the following questionnaire with all the attached schedules. There's Schedule A, the ownership profile. There's Schedule B, the facility information. There's Schedule C, and that's all your financial information. Don't forget your bond. There's Schedule D, that's your ownership and your structure. So that's where you'd have a lawyer create various companies. Schedule E, that's your employment plan. Talk to somebody in HR. Schedule F, local government support. Now you need a lobbyist. Schedule G, production plan. Finally, it's about growing cannabis after all, right? And then you need Schedule H, seed to sale tracking plan. Schedule I, a business operations and security plan. All those schedules by December 28th. Get it in the door. Applicants will have to provide security at its facility to establish electronic video monitoring and use of key cards that log employee and visitor access. And they must have a seed to sale tracking account for the product's whereabouts throughout the production. Law enforcement will be allowed to inspect the facility on demand. Can applicants submit for both a Class 1 and Class 2 production license? Georgia law does not prohibit submitting a proposal for both a Class 1 and Class 2 production license. However, if a proposal is selected for a license awarded in one class, ownership interest in another class is then prohibited. No person or entity holding an ownership interest in a license issued under this code section may hold an ownership interest in any other type of license issued under this part. Mutually exclusive. Ownership interest in more than one license shall be cause for revocation of all licenses. You might not want to risk it. Does a production license include a dispensing license? No. A production license in Georgia does not include a dispensing license. The Commission has not yet established the requirements for dispensing licenses, nor rules to issue and regulate that dispensing. The dispensary licenses application process will begin in 2021 after the Class 1 and Class 2 production licenses are done. If you are looking to expand your cannabis business in the state of Georgia, hit that like button and subscribe for more information. And visit us at CannabisIndustryLawyer.com with your specific questions. I will see you at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday or when it's 4:20 somewhere.